Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are back on Gelvin Valley for Farming Simulator 15. Back for more fun and excitement of harvest. You may recall from my last video that I had a rogue combine again. Let me just pop it in the cab. I turn off, there we go, turn off the ability to, whatever they call that, ICE controls. But at the other side of this field, it once again tried to poke through it, even after all the fence work I tried to do. So I popped open the map. Fingers crossed that I solved it. Only time will tell whether I did. Let's crank him up and get him going. That was just a shocker to me last time. Had to end an episode a little bit early. Oh well, what can I say? Have some humble pie, huh? Oh, let's see. I'll need him eventually. I just don't know what to say. I think the fence that I made, maybe what I need to do, let me get him to find the combine real quick. I'm gonna hop out. Maybe I'll go back up into the combine. Let's take a look at this fence here. See, I had a solid object. Part of the problem I had before is those two lighter colored lines kind of at the bottom. Oh, what is he slipping for? Good gracious. Buying his way. And it continues. Alright, pal, I don't know what your problem is, but you're not working. I'm beginning to think the outer rounds of a field are pretty well jinxed no matter what I do. Alright, maybe he'll behave now. Let me get out. Oh, now and he's slipping. I think it's a conspiracy. A bunch of employees lying flat and that don't want to work. Well, maybe I just need to turn off the paychecks, Apparently he has enough in it. You know what, maybe I better hang tight in the combine so he doesn't misbehave. We're getting close to the corner, kind of where he stepped out anyhow. And kind of like I was saying, the existing... Oh, for goodness sakes. Yeah, thank you for turning back and figuring it out. The existing plane, see those... The image of the wires is just that. It's just an image. And it would be permeable by anything, going into it. I'm just going to have to manually empty him here. Anything could just walk straight through it if you didn't have what are called collisions turned on. So like the collisions, as much as I criticize my hired help and their affinity for the fence and whatnot, it's what stops them, kind of, just like a real-life fence would, from going all the way through it. So, what I tried to do on this corner, and I don't know if we're going to be able to see it. Maybe I won't. No, we can't really see it. But I added an extra high fence right there, or the collision part. So I'm hopeful the next time the combine comes there that he won't just be able to easily go through it. Let me make sure his combine assignment is turned off. Drive course. Because what was happening is if the collision stops right at the top of the fence, the header sits so high on the combine that it was able to just slip up and over it. But then when you tried to pull it back into the field, well then the header was fully on the other side and there was no budging it through the fence. It's like it had this new object wedged in between the header and the main body of the combine. So it just refused to budge. Oh, there's our trusty sheep. So, like I say, I tried to extend it bigger. Can't really see it because it's invisible, but hopefully it does a trick and, yeah, prevents a combine from trying to go through it. I don't know. I also attempted, and maybe I'll just go to the other one that I had. Can I see it from here? Oh, maybe we can't. I also widened the bridge a little bit down there, so hopefully that helps taking the equipment through there. The combine's just a little wider, and maybe it still isn't quite wide enough. I just barely increased it, but we'll see. Hopefully I did a decent job. While those two are horsing around, I'm going to take this guy over. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. And get him going. I say get him going. I have to do it all manually, of course. In this version of Farming Sim, you couldn't hire the tedder work. But that's alright. I don't mind doing it. Really, I don't. You know, in my mind, that's some of the downside of the ability to hire part, but not all of the functions. Um, the combine is probably something I hire the most frequently, and it seems to, my comments notwithstanding, you know, about the fences, generally it seems to behave itself most of the time, especially if you have a reasonably defined field and bounds for it to stay within. But there's other things, you know, before course play, you could maybe hire the combine, but you had to do all of the carting yourself. Now, some people love carting and hauling of things. Personally, I've never enjoyed that part. I mean, you may see this strange because a combine is so slow, but it was almost kind of like a childhood dream, if you will. I mean, I saw these massive combines, and I just wanted to drive one and sit atop this huge machine and get it to go where I told it to go and all that kind of stuff. Oops, we're slipping. Oh, yes, yes, yes. Playing in the fence again. Oh, he might have really played in the fence good. Alright, well, at least for him, we have teleport. Okay, I think he's supposed to empty it. So, back to this guy. So, personally speaking, I would rather, I think, enjoy the combining part. But in Farming Sim, it seems like, you know, with all the tasks you have going on, they're like this one here. Yeah, I enjoy doing this. Actually, I said tedder earlier. I meant windrower. I don't mind windrowing, but I sure wish I could hire it every now and again because this part here is the part that I have to do whether I like it or not. I don't have any choice to just hire it, so it seems like, you know, what ends up happening is I hire everything else and then I stick with having to do this manually all the time. But it is what it is. And kind of like I said before, it's only a mild complaint because I really enjoy almost everything in this game. The only thing that might get a little tedious is, you know, maybe some of you have noticed when, oh, I just made that part disappear. When I did the plowing part of the fields to take these out, actually maybe a lot of that wasn't seen. I think I did that in maybe one of the episodes. I did it with a chisel plow. It's a little wider and it's square shaped, so it was a whole lot easier to work with that than it was, you know, with the standard moldboard plow. And which, if you have a small one of those, and I've seen some mods, you know, where there's just a 1 or 2 bottom plow, 3, boy, oh boy, you're gonna be, that's working hard, you know, to cover up an area, unless you're dealing with very small fields, you know, in which case maybe something like that would work, but aha, I think I got that lined up right. There we go. So I think running one of those tiny plows probably wouldn't be my most favorite activity to do. but almost everything else. Well, maybe that and bale handling. And bale handling is something that has come a long ways. You know, in 15 it wasn't too bad. In terms of loading from the field to a trailer, and I know everybody, if you've made it this far, you've already seen the episode of me loading bales, and I am not doing any bale handling at all. I'm just auto-loading them onto a trailer. But in terms of stacking them, I have done it by hand before. I'm just not very good at it. You know, and one of the main complaints a lot of players have had on the game is the physics, you know, physics problems. And like I say, you could load them in the field and make a stack of them on there. And if you had one of those trailers that had a mod, you know, for straps or had the ability to freeze them all in place, you know, that could be pretty handy once you had stacked them on there. But if you didn't have any of that, you were kind of rolling the dice in your ability to just haul those bales and hope they didn't fall off, you know, before you got them to where you needed them to go. But the problem I always ran into with bales in 15 is in the storage. You know, you make this beautiful stack, go to all this effort, only to see, you know, if you got up really close to the stack of bales, you would start to see them, oh, just wiggling like a little bit. Not much, but just wiggling a little bit. And given enough time, oh, hold on, I better go back out to the field and see what's up. Oh, yeah, Houston, we got a problem. There we go. All right, get out of the combine's way. It is headed up there for some oddball reason. I don't know why. Now, don't go back over there. Maybe now he'll wait till the combine turns. This is why maybe on smaller maps that have hard objects for fences, maybe that's why you tend to see uh, course play not used. Oh, come on, tractor. Oh, you would think even random selection could pick a better route sometimes than course play. There we go, but it's headed off there now. And you know what? He's going to go dump it flawlessly, so I'm not going to complain any further. Alright, back to here. Let me get this finished up. Oh, I'm not even on my mark. But that's alright. So anyways, I don't know how I got talking about bales and whatnot. Maybe it's just on tasks that I enjoy in Farming Sim. I've probably asked that question before. I'm sure others have their favorites, and I guess I didn't share my favorite. I don't know what my favorite is. I like it all. But we probably, and that's probably what a lot of us would say, um, but we probably all definitely have our least favorite. Yeah, I'll have to pick that up with the baler. I think I can negotiate that into the corner. By the time I get over here, maybe the combine will be closer to done. Let's see, I'll just pull him off here. There we go. Yeah, once it gets a width or two in, everything starts to work a little better. You know, now I'm wondering on this combine, is the header going to get dirty? Hopefully it will. I just don't see any dirt on it, so maybe that's something I need to look into. I know I fixed the dirt on the rest of this combine, and I blush to say I never have given it a bath. Because I can't afford. Hey, I need to check prices. That's what I need to do. Yes, sir, yes, sir. Actually, these here, seeds, yeah, those fluctuate slightly. Some of these haven't budged. I wonder if some of these are hard keyed. I know a couple episodes ago I looked at fuel, fertilizer, were both 70 and 30. Seeds I've seen dip to 59. Maybe that was an anomaly, a rounding anomaly, I don't know. Let me see how this is going up at pheasant pluckers. Hallelujah, look at that. Okay, wheat prices are going up. I'm at 180. I think previously it was in 170s. Barley is sideways, and I hope she stays there. That's all I can say. And if it doesn't, I'm wondering if I even break the harvest just to haul in what I have so I can preserve some pricing, if you will. But anyway, I at least didn't force y'all to sit through my combine header reset. But in general, I think I'm liking this header and taking a bigger bite of the field kind of with each pass. I'm liking that. Although I don't know that I would go much bigger on the header. It probably wouldn't fit this combine. So I think I commented on this in another video. The harvest is going faster, not only because I'm taking a wider path, but I'm still going the same speed. And there's just no way you would do that in real life. Maybe you could handle a bigger combine, but you would definitely slow your ground speed so that your machine can handle it. Yeah, I'm not sure what the cause of this is. It's almost like it isn't quite close enough to the combine to offload it, but yeah, I don't know. I'm pretty sure there are some settings to mess with it at. Maybe I'll just see if I can first remove that. Side offset. Maybe I'll just try to get it at 0.3 meters closer. Maybe that'll help. I'm reminded still I have some rain coming in a couple hours, so I need to mow as much of this down as I can. And fortunately, when the rain comes, I don't think it'll diminish my straw. I think I've mentioned I have a script in another map that I'm messing with, hope to show on YouTube at some point. I have an episode coming in the lineup. But a script over there that when the rain happens, it will diminish the grass and hay and straw windrows. And the grass ones, if you leave them overnight, it assumes some rot will occur. So, but yeah, I don't have that installed here. And even though this is 80 something episodes, most of which have been a half hour, there's been a few that have been quite a bit more than that, and a handful that have been less. Kind of like the last episode, I think was 25 minutes on account of my combine fiasco. Even with that many episodes, I still am enjoying this map. I mean, just look at it. The detail for a Farm Sim 15 map. This is part of what I just really enjoyed about the UK style maps was well, just everything about it, the detail, and it's just solid with it everywhere. So maybe at some point I'll quit dragging you all through it that are listening to this. and move on to something else, but I'm probably going to keep it going in the background. And I can't remember if I asked about this before. I'd be curious to know in the comments, what is the longest you have ever played a particular map? And it tells us, I believe, is at in game where it gives us some stats. Yeah, I think we're right here. Time played. Yeah, I think I've been on at 19 minutes so far. So this is 132 hours. So that's how long I've been going here. I mean, to really get into a map, you need at least 100 hours, but I haven't even scratched the surface. Of this particular map, just haven't. There's untold fields that I haven't been part of or haven't got onto that I'd love to have. Some of those large ones up there on the other side of the valley, they're a bit flatter. You can do more in them. And I have all the oblong, weird shaped fields. And don't get me wrong, I really enjoy that. I enjoy that kind of agriculture, farming in challenging places, kind of like we are at the moment. But I don't know. It's an interesting question. When is it time? When have you felt that it's time to move on to another map? A friend of mine, Serious Mods, I think he told me one time that the longest personal save he ever had was, oh, it was something very small, something like just over 10 hours. And I don't know what my longest is, but it's much longer than that. Um, it just, I don't know. If I find a map that I enjoy, I pretty much sink roots into it and it becomes home for a bit. At least as long as I have time to do it. Speaking of home, although it's a different kind of home, and maybe it's a topic for another episode. Don't go up there. You don't need the fence. That's offensive. Just stay in the field. There's a man I know who his home is currently in the prison system. And I'm sure anybody and everybody listening to this would have mixed feelings, different feelings, if you will, on prison, what it means, what people should be in there or shouldn't be in there, all sorts of, like I say, different feelings might come to mind, as a person thinks of what a prison is. This man here, well, I don't know even how much to comment. The likelihood he'd ever hear or find this video is practically nil, but I want to be respectful. Um, I don't really know the man. He's part of one of our churches, and this is some things in his past that that are the reason for which he's incarcerated. And so, as you might say, he's paying his debt to society, or however we would say that. Um, but he's a different man now. And, some of you listening may say, well, how do you know that? Well, I go off the testimony of one of my children who is in the same area, knows the person, the man. And maybe they don't even know. How do we know anything about anybody? Until someone's back is against the wall and you see how they behave, any one of us, who knows what the human being is capable of doing. So, who knows? Only time will tell. Only God knows, for any one of us. But what I've tried to do is correspond with him a little bit, and I've sent him several letters, good old snail mail. And what do you write to someone in prison? I mean, I don't know. I'm just doing the best I can, thinking of, I don't know, what we did that week or what have you. Usually it's only a page or two. single space typed. So I've been writing to him. He wrote back to me once, and treasure his letter. That's just awesome. I basically was writing, wasn't expecting to get anything in return, and he wrote to me once. He basically told me what he had done, um, some changes that he made in his life, to turn some things around, and a rough past, but a good upbringing for the most part. Um, and just somewhere went off the tracks, as they say, and hopefully now his life is getting back on track. But I don't know. Prison is such an interesting thing. I think I've mentioned before. There's a lot of oh, somebody is. Oh, that's me that stopped. Waiting on the combine. Um, there's a lot of time, when I'm working or otherwise sitting at the computer, maybe playing the game. I'll listen to some YouTube in the background. And I've listened to I don't know how many different prison documentaries, uh, those kinds of things. And YouTube now has a plethora of guys on it who were incarcerated and served their time, then got out, and now now they're making money off of their crime. No, I don't mean it quite that way. And maybe as part of their turnaround, they're sharing their stories, information about prison on the internet, so people can hear. And everything I hear about it just horrifies me. If and probably would most of us, and maybe we'd even say, well, prison isn't intended to be a good place. But it just strikes me as a catch-22 type of place. Where if a guy wanted to go straight, it's like you can hardly go straight at all because there's pressures around you to behave a certain way. Um, and if someone picks a fight with you, what do? You can't help it if they do that or get you in trouble, and maybe they choose to do it right as you're about to come up for a parole board hearing because they do it out of spite. They want to keep you there because if they're going to be tortured, they want you to be tormented by having to stay there. Who knows what the motivation is? And it just, and I realize that the lens I'm looking at it through is, well, I'm not here to say I'm a decent citizen or anything at all, but as someone who's never been in jail or even close to it, pay my taxes, try to do the right thing, blah, 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 something that probably a lot of us, would say. You look at it through those lens and say, well, if I was in there, how would I behave? What would I do? Um, or how would you avoid problems? The old joke of, well, don't drop a bar of soap in the shower. Well, that seems kind of simplistic, and maybe people laugh at it and whatnot. I'm not sure it's that simple. Basically listening to these guys, I don't think it is. But just, there's a whole lot of, and it's filled generally with people that are bad guys. And if they did bad things to get themselves in there, well, and if they're in there for a long time, I mean, I don't know what incentives it would take for them to stop doing bad things, especially if they're surrounded by bad company or what have you. There just isn't a way to become reformed. And in many ways, it's just the human being on full-on display of how corrupt it is at its core, in many respects. And I mean, there's all the age-old debates of, whether you should have capital punishment, yes or no, for what kinds of crimes, and the reasons for and against. And I don't want to get into all that here. Um, you can in the comments if you want. I don't know what to say about them. Because, truth be told, I'm not sure anybody has the definitive answer on how do you ultimately prevent, slow down, get rid of, however you want to put it, crime. I think the reality is there's always going to be some, and maybe there's some ways of dealing with it that are more effective than others. And pal, you are not close enough here. I tell you what. I must have, when I did the side offset, 6.7. Yeah, I'm not sure what that is. Maybe I'll just have to zip up here, do a manual unload. Come on, you can drop it. Maybe that got most of it. Yeah, I get down to the end of the field, and I probably should just take it over in the combine. Anyway, you know what? I see that I have gone over 30 minutes. I will call the episode there. Thank you for stopping by, spending a little bit of time. Maybe in the next episode, well, I don't know. I'm not here to talk to you about prisons or preach at you as to what I think, because kind of like I was saying, I don't know that anybody has all of the answers on that. But anyway, I'll save any further comments to another episode. Thank you for watching and stopping by, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye for now.